Good evening. Thank you for joining me. My name is Mazes, okay? Thank you for joining me. As the program title says, you all know what it is all about. The Akwebong Air lady Comfort is now free. She has been freed from prison today. And there is a fresh eyewitness account that debunks everything we knew. Everything you knew, you've listened, that portrayed the lady as the aggressor has been debunked, which now, in my view, makes or rather confirms the reason why the Minister of the Aviation told Ibon Air to drop all charges. It now makes sense. I would explain. Now, in the midst of all this Barakboism, the Superman who stood in front of the aircraft and by the command of his hands stopped the aircraft from moving. Before that young lady decided that you're not going to stop me or I will crush you, like those pastors that will tell you by their prayers they're going to crush you and you're going to die. He is now an ambassador. So anytime you see him, you must add not only a musician, you must also add Ambassador Wasiu. I don't know. Before now, Adams Oshomolo said, if you join APC, your sins are forgiven. But it appears that if you join APC, your sins are not only going to be forgiven, but you are going to be elevated. Recall that before now, before Okowa joined the APC, there was a time Okowa was arrested for commingling 1.3 trillion of Delta State money. But once the moment he joined APC, everything disappeared. I don't know. 2 days ago, we read that the former governor of Imo State, Emeke Hedioha, and Aminu Tamboa, were arrested by EFCC. People have started saying, is it the tactics that the president is using to intimidate the opposition? But hey, stay with the principle by Adams Oshomole. If you join the APC, your sins are forgiven. Now, the question is, if Emeki Hedioha and Tamboa joins the APC, would they still be prosecuted? You know, I know nothing. You tell me. Gladys Oyebo, thank you very much for joining me here. Now, the next one is that in the midst of giving this ambassadorial appointment, the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, now has come out to say, well, this ambassadorial appointment, you need to know it is honorary ambassadorial appointment. It is not paid. Don't worry, I'm going to read out to you word for word, letter for letter, what the Honorable Minister of Aviation said. In all that, I received a press statement because we are in their mailing list. They told us, with the press, we are in the list where, people they tell whenever the president has something important to say so that we can help them publicize that. When I read the statement, it says that the president is going to, on the 14th, which day is 14th? Today is the 13th. That means tomorrow, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be leaving Nigeria to Japan, from Japan to Brazil. Then I added by myself, not only me, now me gets that one. The president is likely to stop over in France for a recharge. Don't ask me what he's recharging, but you know what I mean. Because France is the second Aso Rock that we have now. After recharging in France, he will stop over in London to polish those shoes that all your dust in Nigeria with on your paved road and erosion roads, whatever you're damaging, he's going to come to London to polish that. So let's go back. Let's rewind again. Let's go back to the first one. The first one is this young lady, another account. Earlier today, the young lady, Comfort, was released And when when she was released, we can see her coming out of the prison in a car, very happy, and eventually made a statement. That let me quickly find that statement. Right. So Comfort here is now out, and the statement reads, "I am offering." No, 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 sorry. Comfort now is out, and the this the senior special assistant, I don't know, and this one, men, be very careful now. Some of you, I'm just saying what some of you are saying on the Twitter street. Some of you are saying if Comfort was not, if she was not a fine girl, and if the things you saw, if you didn't see them, would the Delta State, senior special assistant, would he have made that? And some of you are saying that they saw that they saw this, and I'm like, this is Popo now. This is Popo that will leak. So somebody shared that in a group and said, well, wait, the Popo just reminds them of something that they saw. I said, well, I didn't see anything. All I saw was someone who was being abused, right? Now, but the Delta State special assistant on media to the Delta State governor has extended an offer to Comfort Emerson for an all expenses paid trip to Delta State to participate in the Delta Media Summit, along with a job placement earning of a monthly fee of 500,000 naira after her release from Kirikiri. See how we they spend money? I mean, so if you want to get a job, you go to you go use Ibon Air. Do not turn off your phone, and make sure if you're doing that, do not wear bra, so that when they drag you, something can fly all over the place. You might eventually get an offer from Delta State, right? And some people are now saying also that if you don't want, if a new airline is coming called Cali Air, that is Calabar Air, that if you do not want to be dragged, and if you don't want your, watermelon flying everywhere, do not, they can guarantee that your watermelons will not be exposed, because, Cali Air is different from Akwebong Air. But it appears that Akwebong Air has a PhD in two areas. One is lapology and theology. They can tear stuff. And if the stuff they tear is not packaged very well, whatever you see, now you sabi. Now you sabi. But the young lady has been released. That is the good news here. On a serious note, I think that is the right thing to be done. Right? Now, let's go and take the eyewitness account from another side. Many of you on the community section on Njenje Media, we had already published that eyewitness account. But for the benefit of those who are here, because you are here, I'm going to quickly read that for you, and for you to understand what is at stake. Here is the eyewitness account. Eyewitness, person we see, right? An eyewitness account, Ibom Air flight number Q513 from Uyo to Lagos on Sunday, 10th August 2025. So the person starts. I was on this now infamous Ibom Air flight from Uyo to Lagos on 10th August 2025 at 1:20 p.m. in the afternoon. I sat on seat 14B, the aisle seat on the left side of the emergency exit, now on the plane. Emergency exit row on the plane. Miss Emerson sat across the aisle, that is the other side of the aisle, the middle, you sat across the other side. And, sat across the other side of the aisle, immediately to my right, on the corresponding emergency exit row. So Miss Emerson sat on the emergency exit as well. Okay. And the writer thinks the woman sat on 14C or 14D, depending on the sitting arrangement on the other side. He is not sure, but they sat on the same row. Now, he starts to say what he thought happened. He said here, first of all, disclaimer, it is important to state that prior to meeting Miss Emerson, the aircraft, by pure happenstances, I had never met her before now. She is a complete stranger to me. In the same vein, I have never met any of the Ibom air hostesses. So, basically said, just to tell everybody, I've never met any of these people. This is the first time I am meeting anybody in this plane. Okay, so before you accuse him, oh, is your sister, your brother, your girlfriend, your mother, your auntie? No, that's not the case. Now, the gist starts here. There was only two air hostesses on that plane, which I presume to be as a result of the size of the plane. One of the air hostesses approached us and gave us the regular briefing for passengers sitting on the emergency exit. Point one. When somebody is talking the truth, you go know. Point one. That is true. Anytime you sit on the aisle, on the exit row, they will come and tell you if you do not want to perform the emergency landing procedure, please vacate, then another person can come sit down there. Right? So the whole thing continued. After a while, I will refer to these, these hostees. This hostess was exceptionally kind. That is the first one. Polite and amiable. I will refer her henceforth as air hostess number one. After the briefing, she asked Mrs. Emerson politely twice to switch off her phone. Mhm. I noticed thereafter that Miss Emerson was fiddling with her phone with some uncertainty. After air host number one left to continue her duties, the hostess number two came with an almighty huff and told Miss Emerson to switch off your phone. In that Nigerian anti-style, switch off your phone now. Do you want to kill every one of us? Maybe, I do not know. Or maybe she said, switch off your phone now, in a naggy way, right? And the lady continued fiddling with her phone. At this point, she said, Emerson returned with a low voice, I am sorry. I don't know how to switch this phone off, right? And the whole thing was not supposed to. I don't know how to switch this phone off. He said, can't you see where it says turned off if you go to setting? The lady now says, I am sorry. I can't read. I think at this point is where the judgment starts. Because if you ask me, maybe because she would have looked at her, what a beautiful girl. You can't read. Not everybody that you see on the street can read. You know how to use a phone, but you can't read. The kids of 3, 4 years, they can find any game, download anything, yet they don't know how to read it. Some of them can't even read ABC. So the same thing happens. This girl probably did not buy the phone herself, but somebody probably bought it for her as a gift. As long as the phone is on, why they turn my phone off? Nko? She doesn't know how to read. And for her to have asked for help meant truly she can't read. The eyewitness continues. After air hostess 1 left to continue her duties, hostess 2 came with almighty buff and told Miss Emerson to switch off her phone with a very high voice. Miss Emerson, in a low voice, tried to explain to her that the buttons on her phone for switching off were not working were not working, so she did not know how to switch the phone off. Now, this is an iPhone here, right? You know, we all grew up knowing that a phone, you press one button here, it goes off. But not everybody knows that an iPhone, for you to switch it off, this is a phone, right? Is to switch it off, you need to press this button, hold it together for a while before this pops up. Now, honestly, I know truly a lot of people. I'm not holding brief for anybody, but you know, when you're reading something that makes sense, you can relate. If you're not a phone, if you haven't used a phone, or if you're not a phone freak, if you're not a tech freak, you can hold this phone, you don't know how to switch it off. Who does a phone that instead of just press one button or the phone to switch, if you just see this is the power button, if you hold the power button now, it calls Siri. You see here at the bottom here, Siri comes up. If you hold it again, you see Siri is already started because I've woken Siri up. So, but that you have to hold the power button and the volume button together for a couple of seconds for that to even start trying to power off, in my view, makes a lot of, you know, in my view, makes a lot of sense, right? So in this sense, hold on, let me go back to this again. Sorry, I think um, so in this sense, for me, that makes a lot of sense, right? So let's go back again. Now, it now goes on to say, hold on, I'm trying to find where I left. It goes on to, okay, it goes on to say, Miss Emerson, in a low voice, tried to explain to the second air hostess that the button on her phone for switching off phone were not working. In my view, I do not think that they were not working. I think probably, like just as explained now, she probably didn't understand the way to switch off the phone. The lady now asked the air hostess to assist her switch the phone off. Now, if not that you are an almighty, your job is now more important than a pilot. You probably, just that the level of arrogancy and big manism in almost every Nigerian is alarming. The best thing would have been when somebody said, please, can you help me? You ask, if someone would have probably, who is an iPhone user, would have, who would been there, could have probably helped. Okay. So let's go on. He says, the lady now asked the air hostess to assist her to switch off the phone. And the air hostess replied, I am not touching your phone. She now told her to go to the setting and there click on general. Then the lady now responded in an even lower voice, not wanting to shame herself, saying, please, I cannot read. I don't know I don't know what you said I should go and do. Can you just help me? At this point, at this point, from this eyewitness account, because the guy shared his flight ticket, his name is there. You begin to have a pity on these girls. Yes, she's beautiful. Yes, melon popoish, everything, but she still cannot read. In this day and age, many of us may feel so privileged that we can read, but there are thousands, millions of young, old, middle-aged adults that cannot read. And it is not a shame that you cannot read. In this case, she cannot read. She asked for help. Sadly, that help was not accorded to her. I understand that these staff at the app, in the plane are also on the tight schedule because most times the flights are 45 minutes to 55 minutes, when they have to clean everything, share water, do this, do the other one before the plane takes off and immediately land. So they do not have the time to be, attending to each and every one of us telephone and whatever. But even at that, politeness and speaking with a calm voice could have changed everything. But nonetheless, now she continued, "Can you just help me?" She asked again. "Please, I don't have time for your nonsense. Better switch off that phone immediately." She beckoned. The gentleman sitting to my left in seat 14A and I were flabbergasted when we heard this and could not believe that an air hostess could speak to so condescendingly and unnecessarily humiliate a passenger, perhaps because she was a single female. We then intervened and asked the gentleman sitting next to the lady by the window of her now of her now to assist her. He collected the phone and was assisting Miss Emerson. Then started asking, sorry, Emerson then started asking the air hostess too if there was anything wrong with being unable to read and why she had to humiliate her like she did, you know, in the whole public. The air hostess now said to Miss Emerson to keep quiet or else she would deal with her. At this point, Miss Emerson started cursing and told her she could do nothing to her. Then the woman now said, "Okay, I will do nothing. You will see." Then she left in a puff and proceeded to the cockpit and never came back. Does that make sense at this point? Fela and Ikbolakbo Kuti will call this power show. I go show you. I go show you. I go deal with you. I go deal with you. Plane, you know get. Tire, you know get. Just to help somebody. You're there trying to, you know, bring another person down. Anyway, some passengers sitting some passengers sitting afar did not know what truly transpired. They were shouting to Miss Emerson to switch off your phone, switch off your phone. How the passengers in seat 14A and I rose up shouting and shoutedly defending her and then had our explanation. And so when they had our explanation, they were calm and the flight took off. Airborne. Throughout the flight, Miss Emerson was upset, stammering. She kept, discussing the situation with the gentleman on her right till the plane landed. She was obviously quite annoyed and upset. I also noticed that air host number two kept peeping at uh, at our row throughout the flight. She stayed up front in the plane most of the time. If I received, if I recollected collectively, if I recollect correctly, hostess number one, on the other hand, was completely oblivious of the raging storm. At first, I thought so and was kind. And she was kind, polite, and professional throughout. Hostess number one gave extra water to Miss Emerson when she asked for it in flight and also helped her with bringing out her luggage and blah blah blah. Anyway, conclusion here, or rather on disembarkment, where the whole Wahala now started. Once the plane landed, the gentleman in seat 14A and I asked that we had better get out quickly before a war breaks out here. Men, don't they run? We both expressed hope of nothing happening at that point of disembarkment. But anyway, Miss Emerson called, eventually the whole thing blew out of proportion conclusion here to make it quite snappy. Miss Emerson never at any time refused to switch off her phone. Point two, air hostess number two acted very poorly and inflamed a rather simple and a small matter, and is putting this mildly. So the man now put everything just together. And this here is the person who wrote this his own um, flight ticket, right? Now, when I read this, I thought to myself, you know, why did she carry the whole thing in her head? Now, the man attached other videos that, if you listen to the videos, certain informations will make sense. Let me explain. Listen to video number one here. No, no, can I tell you you see when she came to meet you, the first time she came, we stopped and I made a deal. I made a deal. He had told me something. He had told you something. And then I sent her back again. So let me tell you what happened. When she came to meet him, and she was insisting, the guy turned it off. But the way she was talking, the guy wanted to stress her. Exactly. Now, what you can hear here is that at this point, passengers, especially the female one, they were supposed to be disembarking because the guy on white is the pilot who made the PA announcement at some point. So this guy are now telling the pilot before they left that I would say in this, for the plane, they all work for the pilot. That this air host number two is rude, right? That she was the one that escalated everything. It will now become clear in the second video here. As at that time, he had turned the phone off. As at that time, he had turned the phone off. No, she was rude. No, you see, you can imagine, these are passengers saying, because this is still live there, no one has left. You can see those on the ground waiting for that girl to come because the lady has called already, radioed, saying somebody is here. It's obviously probably from Al Qaeda trying to blow our plane off. So these individuals were already waiting, right? You see, even this lady here was saying, you people, Ibom Air, should listen to your clients, listen to your passengers, that you are the aggressor here because you provoked the lady, right? As at that time, he had turned the phone off. As at that time, he had turned the phone off. No, she was rude. People will listen to your client. You're listening one way, and it's not right. She's very rude. They read him. So everybody, almost everybody in that same area that understood what happened from onset, you can hear them. Multiple people say, she's the one that provoked the lady, she's the one that provoked, right? They were all shouting to the pilot who had opened the cockpit. Because what you're doing now is cheating to the guy. You didn't even listen to the guy. Yes, you're very rude. She didn't say that. You're very rude. So she did not say that. She told me first. She was very rude. She was very rude. She put the thing out. That's your way to talk. She was very rude. I understand. She provoked the guy. But then there are ways to handle it. You cannot. Sir, can I tell you something? She's in the service business. She's the one that's supposed to explain to the guy. It's not the guy that she's explaining to. I have to. Okay. So if you listen to all these things, right, it's very clear that the airline staff was in the wrong. However, if looking at this, it also appears because of the way the lady was spoken to, she became more agitated and started at some point when the lady, and actually, you can see that she was also being blocked. At some point when she wanted to go down, she was being blocked, which led to her, started dishing out slap right, left, and center. And when the Akbobi boys came from the ground, they had to tow her top. I believe that the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, who is a lawyer, has looked at this, reviewed all the footages, listened to all accounts, come to the conclusion that if they do not resolve this amicably, this girl can actually sue and get big money. Like I said before, without having these details, I said, like I said before, yesterday, that if I were that girl, I would sue Ibom Air and I will make money out of it, right? But hey, the minister is now intervening. The girl was eventually Comfort. Let me see. Comfort was eventually released today, right? Because everybody has now realized, oh, okay, there is an issue here that we have messed up. So this is her here when she was. This is her here, the one that they are covering her face, coming out of Kirikiri, and this is her here in a car, going home. Focus is different. So here. I don't wake up every day wondering how I can make others like me. I wake up. So now she is now heading home, and this is the lady, the blocker. This is the blocker. So this is now about the blocker and the blockee. Mm. So while all these things were happening now, in all this rough fight, mm, what we are going to find out now is they have pardoned this one. Festus Kayamo, or rather, we all wake up today now and say that Wasiu, the one who blocked the aircraft, that he has been offered that is better. I no go. I no feel laugh. Honestly, I no feel laugh. So let me read that our report here. Okay, federal government reduced his flights this into 1 month, right? They now made him Kwam 1 is now, that's a Wasiu, is now ambassador. I think that is the one that really has gotten Nigerians really worked up, right? You see, so Nigerians are now reacting. Why would this guy be made an ambassador? And in defense of that, the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, is also now come up to defend that. Let me quickly pull up his tweet. Thank God we follow ourselves. Where is the tweet? Okay, so Festus Keyamo here on his Twitter page wrote the following here. I be like say I go need glasses these days. Okay, now he's now clarifying, that is the Minister of Aviation, saying, for further clarification, it is a common practice all over the world that a repentant offender is made to preach publicly against the exact conduct from which he has repented. It is akin to community service. It is not paid for, and it is solely on voluntary service basis. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, some would assume that once you hear the word ambassador, it is a big position that comes with the it is a big position of office. No, it is not. It is for free. And it is not the first time it is happening in Nigeria and will not be the last. Example abound of such role given to repentant persons by previous government in Nigeria. While the aviation agency are considering using Kwam 1 for such a role, in my discussion last night with an airline operator of Nigeria, AON, they are also looking at the option of using Miss Comfort Emerson, who has also shown remorse as their own ambassador for good passenger conduct. It is left for AON to work out those details since she has been actually released from prison custody today based on my earlier statement. While the usual suspect can continue to question our decision on this issue, we firmly believe will have been fair to all. Okay, you know what I'm thinking? Ambassador of aviation. The best way to get it is okay, I'm going to go to Heathrow now. If I get to Heathrow, when the planes are landing, I'll go there and block. So if the plane applies brake, oh, I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, will call me, Mazi, come, we will give you, no, don't do it in London. Go to America. I'll go to Washington, D.C. I'll go to Reagan Airport that is close to the White House. I'll go there and block the plane from taking off and landing. Maybe Trump will offer me ambassador of I don't know, ambassador of aviation. Well, according to minister, you had him. You know, be my mouth when I go here say Reverend Father Sheet, right? You had him. In this case, he's very correct. They are going to make him ambassador of aviation preachment for good conduct, right? Why are you some Ojo? Why OJ? Why are you people so jealous of me that I have learned new trade now? Since the minister says if you and those of you in the northeast and the southeast that have carried gun and entered bush, just come out to opportunity don't open or come out, surrender and say you are sorry. You will not be prosecuted. We'll offer you ambassador of Bush. We'll offer you ambassador of Bush and ambassador of carrying gun in the bush. I hope you get it. If not, so what they do now? If for good now, right? If for good, Nigeria self, they make me laugh. Anyway, the minister is defending it now that they've offered him, and you can see from his tweet, he is not only defending that this ambassadorship is offered, that they will also extend it to the lady that gave doses of slaps and her cloth was torn. I hope in her representation of, um, you know, whatever ambassadorship they were going to offer her tomorrow because she came out of the prison today, let them warn her. Anywhere she's going, she must no longer go braless. So that is one of the things she has to do. I'm just saying my own. In all this, we now have the story that the president of the republic, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is heading off to Brazil and Japan for an important meeting. And from all indication, maybe when he has gone to Japan and he can't come back now. He's about 16 hours to fly. So he has to stop in Europe and go and recharge. Don't ask me what he's going there to recharge. After recharging, he's an hour across the aisle, across the channel. He will just fly across the channel, go back to either Stansted or London Heathrow, or we just go there and polish his shoes. So maybe expect your president 2 weeks from today. He will come back, and the moment he comes back, politics will continue in earnest. For now, governance is suspended to the election in 2027 is either won or rigged. Either way, something must happen. Thank you, guys. I just want to make it a short one. I am still Mazes, okay? If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please, by all means, subscribe, like, and share. See you next tomorrow. Bye.